you can stay on. All right, hi guys, I'm here with Holly. Say hi, Holly.
Hello.
Welcome back to my channel. That's technically our channel now because she's in every one of my videos. And we are playing Stardew Valley like we always do. And today we are going to talk about death. Namely, the deaths that we have had in our lives. You know, when you first sent me those ideas, I thought you were saying first deaths. And I was like, we have the same first death. How? Like, we've already talked about that one.
Yeah, let's just talk about Dad again.
Yeah, let's just make every video about Dad or Mom's drunkenness.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we are going to talk about the deaths that we have each experienced in our lives because some have obviously been the same and some have been different.
Well, most of them have been the same, but...
Well, I mean, I guess, yeah, because we, like, know each other's friends and stuff, but, like, Randy, you don't know Randy. Randy, you know what I mean? Like, or, like, Janice. You don't even know who Janice is.
I have no idea.
Yep.
So, all right, let's go.
So, like, how are we going to do this? Like, do I just, like, name every single person in my life that's died, and then you name every person in your life, or what?
Yes. Well, okay. We can start with the ones that we have, like, in common.
Yeah. So, like, family members and friends and...
Yeah. Obviously, there's Dad.
Yep. Our dad died when I was 14 and Holly was 6.
Yep.
And if you don't already know that... Yeah, I'm petting the...
Okay.
If you don't already know that story, I'm sure that there's videos. We've talked about it multiple times.
Yep.
And then...
Do we already have a large brown egg?
Yes, I just put one in the community center yesterday.
Okay, cool.
We need a large goat milk for that, and then that's all that we need for that one. I'm just waiting, because for now I'm just getting small goat milks.
Oh, okay.
But, oh, no, the goats only do every other day. Alright, sorry, Jude. I'll milk you tomorrow. But I think the next one in our family would have been Aunt Sandy, right?
No. Well,
oh, wait, no, Grandpa?
Nope. No. It would have been, actually, Baby Mike.
Oh, Baby Mike. Oh, my God. What is wrong with me? Yeah, this one's bad. So our cousins, Mike and Ruth, had their 5th child not long after our dad died.
Yeah.
Oh, I just thought of another one, too, that I almost don't even want to bring up. But I'll do it in vague terms.
Okay.
But while our cousin Ruth was in getting her tubes tied, their baby died from SIDS.
Yeah.
And it was really bad. And he actually is buried in our dad's plot because our dad was cremated. So he does have like a headstone and a burial plot, but he doesn't like have a body in it. So baby Mike is actually buried in there so that Mike and Ruth wouldn't have to try to pay for a burial plot because it's expensive.
Yeah.
So,
they definitely didn't need that burden on top of everything.
Yeah, so it's funny. It's not funny. It's terrible. But, like, at the front of the grave is our dad's headstone, and then at the foot of the grave is baby Mike's headstone.
I know. I remember Ruth one time saying something about Dad, like, watching him, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, she said that it made it feel like more like he was with Dad, and Dad was watching him, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh,
exactly.
that hurts me.
I know. It's so heartbreaking. But, yeah, so, and then in that same year... another cousin lost a baby that, but she was very, very, very young. She was my age, so.
Wait, what?
Denisa?
Oh, yeah.
She gave birth to a baby that also died not long after birth. But
that's
not my story to tell.
That long ago.
Yeah, that's not my story to tell, so I will not tell that story. But
yeah, right. But that was one.
Yeah, that was another death. That one. I'm obviously not going to tell that story, but that one was hard for me specifically because that was like my best friend.
Yeah.
And I knew, like, when she came for my dad's funeral, she was pregnant, and she stayed at the house, and she, like, laid up in my room and told me all sorts of stuff about her pregnancy and her baby and everything that she didn't tell other people. So, like, I knew stuff that, you know, other people didn't know that I don't even know if my sisters know.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and then my mother wouldn't let me go to the funeral. And I'm still to this day angry at her for that.
Terrible.
Yeah, she would not let me go to that funeral.
I,
But anyway, so then, gosh, who would have been next? Would Aunt Sandy? No, was it that long between deaths? There's no way. I just keep trying to jump right to Aunt Sandy, but there had to have been more in between.
yeah, because I was like 14 when Aunt Sandy died.
Yeah, Matthew was already born when Aunt Sandy died.
Yeah,
It's only been like 19 years or 18 years since Aunt Sandy died. I say
Well,
only.
Yeah. But man, who was next though? Because I was Uncle Butch next?
Yes, because Uncle Butch was before.
Yeah, I was 11 when Uncle Butch died.
Yeah, because I remember I was working at the restaurant and I had to like try not to cry while I was like bussing tables. Because it was interesting with our Uncle Butch because he had lung cancer.
Yeah.
And there was
our
one
Uncle Butch
point,
was our grandma's brother, by the way.
He is our great uncle. He was our grandma's brother. But he lived with our grandma like our whole lives, so he was Uncle Butch. He was always there. And I remember his real name was Clifford, by the way, for those of you who are wondering.
Yes.
But he at one point he got really sick, and we he was in the hospital, and we all went to his bedside and we all said our goodbyes. And it was this big, huge, dramatic thing, and they pulled the plug, and he lived for like 2 more years.
Yeah, he lived for a long time more, which was weird. And it was great because obviously we all wanted the rest of that time with him. But...
Right. So then the next time they told us that it was the end for him and that they were going to be pulling the plug, I was just like, okay, you do that then.
Right.
And then he actually did die. So
yeah, it was awful.
Yeah,
and it was hard because he was watching him, because he was always this big, jolly, energetic, happy guy. And then,
so
just
watching him deteriorate, that was rough.
It was
because for us with our dad, yes, obviously it was terrible to lose our dad. That was horrible. It was shocking. No one saw it coming, but no one saw it coming. We just woke up one day and he was gone.
Happen.
And obviously it's not better or worse. I would have loved to have some warning that my father was going to die. But with Uncle Butch, we had to watch him go from being... Because with our dad, we literally just went to bed and had this happy, jolly, wonderful dad, and then we woke up and he was gone. Whereas with Uncle Butch, we had to watch it slowly happen. And neither one is a great time. But...
And his because I used to play the game Mastermind with him all the time, and that was our thing is we would just play board games and stuff together.
Yeah.
And up until the last time I saw him, he still was playing board games.
Yeah,
with
his
me
cognitive ability never really went away because it was lung cancer. So it just. But I remember hugging him and thinking being shocked by how bony he was, because Uncle Butch was never a bony guy. He was, I guess, stocky.
He wasn't a big guy.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Just,
he
had
was
heft to him.
Yeah, the broad shoulders, and he was somebody that you would call he wasn't large, but he wasn't a skinny guy. He was just I don't know. I can picture him clear as day, but you guys don't know what I'm picturing, so I don't really know how to describe it. Holly knows. Yeah. she can picture it. But.
I have one picture. He hated having his picture taken. Yeah. And I remember I snuck one picture of him, and I'm so glad that picture exists.
Right. Seriously, because. Yeah, but so that it was definitely hard to watch him die. Okay, so then who would be after Uncle Butch?
I think that after that, would it be Grandpa or would it be Aunt Sandy?
I think Grandpa, because Grandpa was before Aunt Sandy, because they only had to Photoshop Dad into that picture.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But yeah, our grandpa though, the thing with our grandpa is our grandpa had literally been dying since, basically since we met him. More or less.
He was in a wheelchair and hooked to wasn't he hooked to oxygen for a long time?
Yeah, and he stayed in a hospital bed. I remember going to their house to see him, and he was back in the hospital bed in their bedroom, and He was a sickly guy basically from when we were very, very little.
Yeah, and he was a very, very sweet man. Like,
No,
he was
yeah,
always,
he was sweet as can be.
he just couldn't really interact with us all that much because
Yeah, he was very sick. I genuinely don't even know what was wrong with him.
yeah, I don't know either.
I'm sure that if I asked someone, they knew. But he had like he was very ill for a very long time, and it took a long time for him to die actually. Which I know that sounds weird and mean, but like he was sick for so like an invalid essentially. Like
Yeah, Grandma was like taking care of him.
yeah, and like we would have the Christmas party every year, and the reason that we had the Christmas party at the clubhouse that we had it at when we were kids, it was directly across the street from our grandmother's house. And that way, when Grandpa got tired, Grandma could just wheel him home, and it was fine. That way, he could join in. But yeah, he was very, very sick for most of our lives.
Yep, he was.
And
So, and I mean that one was definitely sad. It was awful when he died, but it was also one that was not like a surprise because
yeah, exactly. Yeah, Grandpa
I
dying.
mean, it kind of
not,
was because we were like, wow, he's been sick for so long. Like, I never
right.
expected it.
Yeah,
but,
that one. Yeah, that's true.
but not in like a mean way, just in like a. It's hard. It's so hard to explain.
Yeah, like if you've ever had a family member in your life that is like chronically ill like that, you know exactly what we're talking about, and you'll understand that we're not saying anything like negative about our.
Yeah, it's not like a.
Yeah, it's not like oh, thank God he's finally gone because you know. But it was like, and I almost feel like this is gonna sound mean. I almost feel like for our grandmother, it might have been not a relief, obviously, because that was her husband and she loved him, but almost like a. Oh my gosh, I can finally.
Yeah, we said because I'm gonna skip a little bit here, but like our grandma got married not long after to somebody who was friends with both of them.
Yeah.
And had been helping take care of Grandpa for a while.
Yeah.
And we all said like even Grandpa himself would be happy right now that somebody's finally taking care of our grandma because she took care of
him
Grandpa
for so long. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
And like obviously she was happy to do it because she loved him.
Yeah, because that was her husband. But yeah, it takes a toll on you.
Yeah.
But anyway, so then I guess next would have been Aunt Sandy. This was February 14th, 2004. I distinctly remember that.
Yep.
Our Aunt Sandy, this one was the biggest shock. I mean, it wasn't the biggest shock because obviously our dad, but the biggest shock since our dad. I remember I was driving to work. It was an ice storm in February. It was on Valentine's Day. And I get a phone call from my cousin Joey, and he says, "What are you doing right now?" And I said, "I'm driving to work in an ice storm." And he said, "Okay, I'm going to wait until you're not driving to tell you this because it's bad." And I was like, "Well, for God's sake, Joey, you can't say that to me. Now you have to tell me." And so he said, "It's Aunt Sandy." And he explained to me that she had what they thought might be an aneurysm in the parking lot. And she was on life support and she was not going to survive. That we all had to get up to the hospital. So I was going to my best friend's house to pick up her brother-in-law, who I worked with, and I drove to work every day. And I went inside and I woke her up and I told her, you know, what my cousin Joey had said. And, you know, it was funny because the first words that she said was, "But she just got that boob job. She was so excited," because she was half awake, and that was what she remembered, was seeing Aunt Sandy at the Christmas party 2 months before that, and her excitedly telling us about her boob job she just got with her ex-husband's bunny. Like, she was happy.
She was,
but yeah, so we all went up to the hospital, and she was still like on the backboard from the ER. We brushed her hair, we cleaned her nails up.
No, and like her hair was like, we combed her hair, but her hair had just been like done. Like she had clearly just gone to the salon. Her nails were done, like so cute.
Yep.
She was so very much Aunt Sandy, even at that moment. Like,
yep, exactly. And we did what we could to make sure that she stayed looking as good as she would have wanted. And, you know, we all had to say goodbye to her. And it's funny because a lot of the family considers her date of death the 15th because that's when they technically pulled the plug. They waited because they had to wait for her son, Mike, our cousin Mike, to get there from Montana.
Oh my God, man.
Yeah. And
all of these names. Go on.
I know, it's so bad. But we had to wait for Michael to get there from Montana so that he could also say goodbye to his mother. And when they pulled the plug, it was just her siblings, her mother, and her kids. But the rest of us all got to come and say goodbye the day before. But we all consider it the 14th because that was when she was gone. You know.
Yeah, she
was already gone. Technically, I'm sure on her death certificate it probably says the 15th. But I don't celebrate Valentine's Day and never have. That's why, like,
Valentine's Day.
People would, like, be surprised in my marriage when I didn't care if my husband didn't acknowledge Valentine's Day. And I was like, guys, before I ever even met him, I didn't care about Valentine's Day. I'm not going to suddenly start caring about it now. Like, no, Valentine's Day is not a happy day of love. But anyway, so yeah, that was Aunt Sandy. That one was a hard one. That one was really
Aunt Sandy,
hard.
we were not, like, we didn't see a lot of our dad's side of the family growing up, but, like, Aunt Sandy definitely made, like, an effort to be, like, close to us.
Yes, she did. Yeah, Aunt Sandy was amazing. And she was the oldest sibling.
And just, like, a year before that, me and my cousins had gone on, like, this up north, like, winter up north trip and, like, went sledding and stayed in, like, this, like, trailer, I guess, thing with her.
Yeah.
It was, like, an RV. But it was, like, the most fun trip ever. And I'm so, so glad we did it.
Yeah, I'm so glad you guys got that. Yeah, so that one was a rough one for sure. And then would next have been Grandma?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
I just thought of one that we didn't even mention because it didn't affect us any, but it was a death in our life. Our mom's biological dad died when we were teenagers.
Yeah.
We didn't know that guy though, so.
We met him right before he died because he came to stay with our grandma. But.
Yeah, because he was dying and whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one.
Clearly, that guy wasn't somebody.
He was not in our life, so we, that sucked for our
even if he was in our lives, he wasn't exactly.
Yeah, he was not a good guy.
Well,
not to speak ill of the dead, but ill of the dead. But I did feel bad for my mom because that was her biological father, and I'm sure
of course,
she was sad. But anyway, and then our grandmother, our mom's mom, died. She was a rough one too because.
Oh man, I wasn't 15. I was 20 because it was on Jay's 21st birthday.
What, when Grandma died?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you were. Yeah, man, I was.
I don't know why
was already born.
Yeah.
Salem was 2 years old.
Yeah.
But the thing, it was on Jay's birthday that Grandma died?
Jay's 21st birthday.
Terrible. Yikes.
I know. And Jay loved Grandma.
So that was terrible. Jay. But so with our grandma, with our mom's mom, that is the grandma, like, no shade to our dad's mom. Like, we love her, but I think that she pulled away from us a little bit when our dad died because I'm sure that it was hard for her. Plus, we didn't really, like, it's not like our mom made a big effort to, like, bring us to see her or anything because she was too wrapped up in her own grief.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we didn't really see our dad's mom a lot, but we saw our mom's mom a lot. That was the one that we would go every Thanksgiving and every summer. We would go to Illinois to visit them, and then they would come in the summer sometimes to see us, and then they eventually moved here. And, like, for my wedding, my grandma made, it was so cool. She made edible arrangements, but she, like, made them herself. Like, she cut out the fruit.
God, she did.
They were freaking cool. Like, my grandma at my wedding was the best. She was doing the chicken dance with, like, family, like, that woman rocked it the entire damn night. Like, it was crazy. But anyway, when my grandmother suddenly decided to sell all of her worldly possessions, and this was after our Uncle Butch died and our grandpa had already gotten divorced. I forgot you're close on Wednesdays. Our grandmother decided to suddenly sell all of her worldly possessions and start flying to various locales to visit her children. Because our aunt lived in California, we had an uncle in Georgia still at the time, and then us in Michigan. And she spent a lot of the time in California, I think because it was warmer.
Yeah, she had a bedroom there and everything.
Yep. And I remember me and our sister Tracy. I don't know if anybody... Oh, this duck was just in the water again. Hello, little duck. I don't know if Tracy and I ever said anything to you, Holly, but I know me and Tracy had a theory that our grandma was very sick. We thought she had cancer, specifically stomach cancer, because her stomach was swollen. And she lost tons of weight everywhere but her stomach. And she suddenly was selling everything and traveling. And she made it seem like she was just trying to live her life, but me and Tracy used to call it the goodbye tour.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, we were positive, but we didn't want to say anything to anybody else because we didn't want to upset anyone. And
Right.
then our grandmother announced that she had been diagnosed with, you guessed it, cancer.
Cancer. Yep.
And I believe stomach cancer, right?
Oh, I don't even know because by the time she told us, it was like everywhere.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it started as stomach cancer.
Okay.
And I think that she knew. I think that she found out while she was still here in Michigan, got diagnosed, knew that it wasn't going to be fixable, and just decided to go live her life.
Yeah, which
like,
I mean,
I will die on the hill. Like, I firmly believe that that is what happened, and that she didn't want to tell Mom because Mom had just lost her husband, and I mean,
Mom
not
had
just she hadn't just lost him, but Mom was not over it. You know
No.
what I mean? Like,
Well, not.
obviously, it had been many years, but Mom was not. It had been less than 10 years.
It had been 14.
Oh well, no. When me and Tracy think.
Really? You thought that? No. No, because when Grandma lived in Michigan, when I was 15, we flew to California together when I stayed there for a month.
Mm-hmm.
Was it 16 when she moved? Was I 16 when she moved? I might have been.
Yeah, I'm talking about when she was like when she officially or when she first like discovered it. We think that it had been because think about it. I was 14 when Mom died. Or when Mom died. I was 14 when Dad died.
Yeah.
And it was less than 10 years when Salem was born.
Yeah.
Or no, it was just barely 10 years when Salem was born. And Salem was only 2 when Grandma died. And we think that she had known about it for quite a while.
Gotcha.
So it had been maybe 10 years, I would guess, probably. But either way. So yeah, our grandmother's death was a shocking one. And I mean, but like I said, me and Tracy, we really did. We suspected it. And we wanted to be wrong, but we weren't super shocked when we weren't wrong.
Right.
And then, she went pretty quickly from when she was diagnosed to when.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was terrible for sure. I definitely put those in the wrong spot. And then who would be next?
Was Grandpa next?
I don't know if
Grandpa
Grandpa was
wasn't long
next or
after
Michael.
that. I don't know either. But we can just talk about both and.
All right. Well, our grandpa. This one made me mad. I'm still to this day so mad about it. My mother was so casual about telling me that my grandpa died.
Oh, yeah.
And I lost my mind. Like, I was so devastated because it's like my mother, this was her stepfather. And when her stepfather left her mother, my mother was pissed.
Yeah.
And I don't know that she ever forgave him. And then her mother died, so of course then she still had that, that anger. And that's understandable. And I don't blame my mother for that. But that was still my grandpa. That was the only grandpa I had ever known my whole entire life. That was my grandpa.
Yep. And we were all like, he wasn't even just like a grandpa. He was like very involved grandpa. Like,
yes, that was our grandpa. And so we were not at all like, and she told me that he died, like she was telling me the weather. And I was devastated, like devastated. Because he just one day just died. And he was not living around here.
Yeah,
and
he was living pretty far away and we hadn't seen him in.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I don't know if my mother just didn't realize this or didn't care or what, but our grandpa emailed us. Like, we had emails going with him. Like, I talked to my grandpa all the time because he emailed me.
I used to get annoyed because he would say, like, I'd tell him I missed him and stuff and he would not acknowledge it, and then I would like he'd sign his emails Don instead of Grandpa.
Oh, see, when he did that, I told him to knock it off because he was my grandpa, and then he stopped.
See, I was really young, and I just was uncomfortable with all of it.
Right, yeah, I totally get that. But yeah, I told him knock it off because he's my grandpa, and he's not going to treat himself like he's not. So then he started signing it Grandpa Don.
And I called him, the Father's Day before he died, and he seemed so appreciative of the fact that somebody called him on Father's Day because nobody had in so long, and I was like, oh, Grandpa.
Aww. Yeah, I loved him. He was the best. He loved trains, and I remember when he moved to Delaware, he wrote me an email, probably all of my sisters, but I still have all my emails from him, by the way. But he wrote an email and told me all about how he moved to a place near a train track, so he got to hear the trains all the time. So I love that. I love that that's where he, lived out his last days or whatever. Years, I guess, because it was years. But yeah, I still to this day have his lady friend that he was living with at the time on my Facebook.
Yep, me too.
Sylvie.
Yep,
Sylvia.
Yep. She's a very, very, very sweet lady.
Yes, she is.
And she happily embraced adding us all on Facebook and interacting with us and liking our pictures.
Oh, so sweet. Such a sweet woman. But yeah, so that was Grandpa, and then I guess Michael would be the next one. This one really sucked.
Yeah,
oh my God, this freaking, could you please just water shit the way you're supposed to? So this one was our cousin Mike, he is the one who lost the baby when our dad died.
He was...
Are you kidding me? Why?
What happened?
Mike, look at me. I'm just watering over here. I turn this way, and I just turn around and water the other direction. Anyway, Mike was very sudden, too. He went in the hospital, what was it, an ulcer?
Yeah, it was something. It was not anything that you would think was...
I still to this day don't even fully understand what happened with Mike. We got word that he was in the hospital, and that it wasn't looking good. And he was in the hospital for a few days. And then he died.
Yeah, and then he just died. On what?
April 20th.
Ah, jeez. Yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure he did on purpose.
Yeah, right? He's like, this is going to be my day.
Yeah, he's like, if I'm going to die, it's going to be on 420, and you're going to like it.
Yeah. Yeah, every single time 420 comes up, you're going to think of me.
Exactly. Like we wouldn't already, Michael.
Honestly, you would find that hilarious, and I love it.
Yeah, exactly. I know. That's like the only...
slight saving grace.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, and Michael was like, he was at our house a lot when we were growing up. Like,
Mike, like, our cousins, we were close with a lot of them.
We spent a lot of time, like, at his house, especially, like, when I became a teenager. I used to go over to his house with my sister and her ex-boyfriend all the time. Like, all the time. And obviously, we were, like, really close with his kids and stuff, too, because his kids are, like, closer to my age.
Yeah. Mike was quite a bit older than us.
Yeah. But, yeah, that was a really, really hard one, for sure.
Yeah.
But then there's one
that
that
Aunt Sandy's son.
There's one coming up that I still can't talk about without sobbing, so this is going to be tough.
I know, I'm not looking forward to talking about that one at all. That one's gonna... Well, luckily that's the last one.
Yeah.
And then...
Well, unless we talk about people who aren't, like, family.
Well, yeah, that's the last one for family, because right now we're just talking about, like, family members that we have in common. So let's see, for family, who came after Michael? Anthony.
Yeah, I was going to say there was Anthony. I don't know. He was next, wasn't he?
Yeah, our cousin Scott lost a son. Really, really horrible. That one was really shocking and sad as well. He was so young. He was so young.
And he was such a nice
awesome kid. Like,
he really was. He was like, he wanted everybody to smile all the time.
Oh my God. Never in my life have I... This kid was amazing. He was such a happy kid. Like,
he was.
Well, clearly he wasn't.
He was so. But he was so like. But he was like. I know that they say this and it's so cheesy, but he was literally one of those people that like walked into a room and like lit up the room.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. He was an amazing kid, and it really sucks that he's gone.
Yeah.
So, I hate that one a lot. I hate that Anthony's gone. Oh, and I can't believe that we missed this one, but way back, before a lot of these that we talked about, our other cousin lost a son as well to a drowning accident.
What?
Eddie's son Noah.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And he was young too. That one was really awful, but I don't want to get into a lot of details about that one because that one was really tough for members of that family, and I don't want to bring it up because I don't think that they'll ever see this, but I'm not gonna talk about somebody else's trauma.
Yeah.
Especially because these kids don't know us. They didn't know us well enough to even know who we are.
But it's just another awful, really awful
situation. Anyway, so then after Anthony, is Teresa the next one?
Yep.
Okay, so this one's really bad too.
Wait, I think maybe Teresa was first before Anthony?
I don't think so.
No,
or maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. I guess
they were close together. They were too close together.
Yeah, they were too close together. So
that poor family.
I know. So our cousin Scott, who is our cousin Michael's brother and our cousin Anthony that we were just talking about's father, has a daughter named Lily. And he had been married to Lily's mother, Teresa, and then they'd split up. And
isn't she Bree's mom too?
Well, yes, but I was mostly just talking about Scott and Mike and all that. And I mean, yes, she does have another daughter named Bree, who is our cousin Scott's stepdaughter. But she, I had actually just saw Teresa at the Christmas party. She came to pick up Lily. She came over, said hi, gave me a hug. And then 2 weeks later, she was in a car accident on an icy road on her way to work and was killed. And I remember in the morning watching the news and seeing the story about the car accident with one fatality and thinking, oh, that's so terrible. And then, like an hour later, my Aunt Barb calls and says, hey, did you see the story on the news about the car accident this morning? And I was like, yes. And I'm thinking, oh, God, Aunt Barb only calls me when people die. This is terrible. And she said that it was Teresa. And I was so shocked. Like, that one, like, that was not somebody that we were super close to because obviously this was our cousin's ex-wife and there was a lot of, like, animosity between them and, a lot of drama. But my last interaction that I had with her had been nothing but pleasant. She came and said hello, gave me a hug, asked me how I was doing, and went on her way. Like, I didn't have any problem with her.
And my only real memories of her are like when we were still together, and I was pretty young. Like, I was quite young.
Yeah.
And she like sat with me and like talked to me about like books and like books that we both liked and had in common, and it was like so nice to me. Like, she like made a point to like sit down and like chat with me, and I was just like this little kid chilling there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, I didn't have any like beef with Teresa. Like,
No, me either. I really liked her.
So it was definitely very sad, especially for her daughters.
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially for her kids. Like, I felt for them a lot.
I felt so bad for her daughters. So that one was really bad. And then, Dallas.
Yeah. Dallas. Yep.
Dallas was before Teresa, way before Teresa.
Yeah.
So this one was crazy because this one happened on the same day as somebody else that died that has nothing to do with Holly. But our grandpa's not second husband. I don't even know what number he was, but our grandma's husband, our grandma's husband that she had after our grandpa died. His name was Dallas, and he died very suddenly as well.
Yeah.
I remember getting the phone call from my Aunt Barb, and she was just sobbing. And she was so upset because no one expected it, and he just died. And that one was really bad. I felt so bad for our grandma. Like, it was
he was
really,
the
really
nicest
bad. He
guy.
was such a nice man. Like, he just, like, slipped right into our family and just... Because our dad's side of the family can be chaotic because there are so many of us. And Dallas just slipped right in and was nice as can be from the get-go.
remembered our like all of
Yeah,
our
remembered
names.
our names, and there's a lot of us.
Yeah,
And
we have so many cousins.
yeah, and he was such a sweet guy. He was so nice, and it really is a shame that happened. Um, but yeah, so then there was Dallas, and I
Mm,
don't know if there's anybody else.
you mean
I know
until
I
Joe?
know who there is. I'm saying I don't know if
Yeah,
there's anybody else besides that.
I don't think so.
All right, this one's bad, you guys. So forgive us if Holly cries because she's probably going to. I might not. I'm not really sure. But our cousin Joey, I know we've talked about him already when we talked about cousins, but we didn't really talk about his death because it's too hard to talk about him to begin with, let alone his death. So this was in 2019. It was in the summer. It was early July. And I think it was like July 9th or something. 7th. I can't remember, but it was early July. And I'm sitting outside, and the babies are playing, and my phone rings, and it's my Aunt Barb. And I knew that someone had died because my Aunt Barb only calls me when someone dies. But
And then wants you to tell everybody.
and wants me to tell everybody. And I thought that she was going to say my grandma, honestly, because my grandma's pretty old. But then when I answered the phone, she seemed pretty calm. So I was like, oh, maybe someone didn't die. Maybe someone's just sick or pregnant or getting married or she needs an address.
Yeah.
And then she tells me, very matter-of-factly, like she's telling me about her latest crocheting project, that my cousin Joey has died in a fire. And I don't think that she expected my reaction because I made a sound that I don't think that I've ever made in my life and said not Joey so many times that I think someone had to come take the phone from me. And I don't think she expected that reaction. I think she expected me to just shrug and say go figure for some reason. I still to this day don't know why she didn't expect me. This guy was like my brother. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that. And why she expected me to just say, okay, I'll notify my sisters. Thanks for the update.
You're right.
But she did. And I know that this sounds harsh, and I'm trying to not be mad about it, but I'm still to this day kind of mad about it. Because let me tell you, that was not, oh my God. And then, within minutes of my Aunt Barb telling me, before I've even fully processed it and been able to tell anyone, I get a Facebook message from another one of my cousins that's the article about the fire. An article. A fucking news article.
Jesus.
And I don't even know if I responded because I was just, ugh. And so I had to call my sister. I decided in that moment that I was just going to call them in order because I didn't know what to do and it was going to be awful every time. So I called my sister Heather and I sobbed when I told, I did not even tell her calmly in any way. I was just hysterical because she's my older sister and I could be. And I had to call my sister Heidi's boyfriend to talk to her because Heidi didn't have a phone at the time. And he could tell that things were bad and I was like, listen, this is going to be the worst thing in the world. I need you to be prepared, to her boyfriend.
Oh my God, Heidi.
And I had to tell Heidi, and I have never in my life heard my sister, our father died and I've never heard my sister make this noise. It was so bad that I couldn't handle it. It was awful. I was on my knees in my yard.
We were close with Joe, but he was like Heidi's best friend.
Yeah, and telling Heidi is the worst thing that I'm so angry that I had to do that. But then I had to tell Heidi. And I was trying, or Holly already knew, right? Didn't somebody already call you?
I
feel like Crystal called you.
Yeah, Crystal called me.
I called Holly and she already knew, so I didn't have to tell her. But I called my sister Tracy, and Tracy was not getting up. So I want to say, didn't Bob drive over to Tracy's house and wake her up?
I don't remember. I remember somebody had to wake Tracy up. I don't remember.
I'm pretty
exactly
sure that
what.
my ex-husband, my now ex-husband, drove because he was surprisingly, like he knew how close I was to Joey, so he was surprisingly not being a dick during this time. And I'm sorry that also sounds harsh, but I'm pretty pissed at my ex-husband today. But so my ex-husband went and told my sister Tracy, and she was of course devastated because again Joey was like our brother. But the worst part is they went and told my mom, and my mom misunderstood them at first, saw just my husband and my sister standing there, and thought that I had died.
Oh, God.
And she said that her entire world stopped and she couldn't function. And then she processed that they said Joey, and she said her immediate thought was relief, and then absolute devastation because, of course, Joey was like a son to her.
Yeah.
But she said that she felt so bad that she at first felt like relief that it wasn't me, and then just felt horrible for my aunt and for, everyone because, that's...
Awful.
Yeah, it's absolutely horrible. But yeah, so she, that was her first, immediate, whatever you call it.
Immediate thought.
Yeah, like reaction was, she thought that it was me, and it obviously was not. And then Joey, the thing with Joey is, obviously we were in just the deepest denial humanly possible. So we decided, and it didn't help that some guy, I still to this day don't know who this guy was, some friend of our cousin kept posting on Joey's Facebook wall saying that it wasn't an accident, and
yeah,
that, basically trying to, because what happened is Joey was out in his garage. And here's the thing, I hate to even say this on the internet because I don't know this woman and I don't want to badmouth her because she was my cousin's fiance.
Yeah, absolutely.
But she was in bed when this fire happened, and based off of the time of the fire and based off of her Facebook posts, she was awake.
She was awake. Yeah, she was awake when the fire started.
Why didn't she
just somehow didn't notice it in her backyard or smell anything or...
Yeah.
And obviously, I've gotten past the whole conspiracies. I'm not trying to even do that anymore. But at the time, we were just trying to I guess we were trying to rationalize in some way.
Yeah, basically we were very, very deeply in the denial phase of grief.
And it was so it was so out of nowhere, and it was so unexpected, and he was young, and he was Joe, oh.
Yeah, and it still to this day, no, it's just...
No, there are still times when I forget.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and all during COVID, all I could think is, if Joey had COVID, he would be calling me up right now, telling me every single one of his symptoms and just being so dramatic about it, and we would be having constant conversations about masks and the country, and because Joey's favorite thing to do was debate things like that.
Yeah.
And it just...
Oh,
that one was genuinely the worst one because... Oh, I hate every single thing about it, and I still don't have any answers, and it will forever make me mad.
And I can't process it for some reason.
No, I can't either, and it doesn't help that we didn't have a funeral. I understand that my Aunt Sherry she was grieving, and she just wanted to get whatever, but we didn't have a real funeral for Joey, and it's not like it was COVID. There was no COVID happening yet.
Yeah, no.
So it's not like we didn't have one because of COVID or whatever. We just... there was a little memorial, but there wasn't a funeral.
Yeah.
And it's deeply upsetting to me because I didn't get to say goodbye. You know what I mean? There was just... I don't know. I hate it. I hate it.
There was no chance to process anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was... Ugh.
Yeah, that one
they were
to this day just... all I could think about when everything was going on with my husband is if Joey was here, the shit would not be fucking happening. Because one phone call, and everything would have been taken care of.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Joey would have
absolutely.
never let me go through what I went through. One phone call. And instead, no. It
Yep.
just, and it almost feels like Joey died and then the world went to shit.
I know.
You know? Like,
Yeah.
so. That one was genuinely the worst one. And that was the last one in our family so far. And I hate to say so far, but obviously, you know.
Yeah. Obviously, life goes on and,
Yeah.
things happen.
But yeah, so Joey was, and like, I feel like since that happened, I don't think my Aunt Barb likes me very much because I was not happy with the way she told me, and I was not happy with the fact that I had to tell everyone.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't have called my mother.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know, like, I get tired of it all being put on me because I'm not the oldest. I am not the oldest child in my family. And I'm not saying that I wanted that to all be put on Heather, because Heather and Joey were very close as children too, and it was hard for all of us. None of us loved this. But, like, basically, it was treated almost like it was to be expected from Joey. Like,
Yeah.
no, it is not to be expected for anyone to die in a fucking house fire, thank you. Or garage fire, actually.
Yep.
And I'm still mad about it. I'm so mad. But yeah, so anyway, that covers family. That's family that we've lost. That I hope we're not forgetting anyone. Imagine we're forgetting someone. That would be terrible.
I know. It really would.
But
And,
I don't think we are.
I don't think we are, because I don't think we are.
Oh, Uncle Lonnie.
Yeah, Uncle Lonnie.
Okay, so my Uncle Lonnie, I'm sorry that I'm smiling when I tell this one, but this one was sad. But we did know it was coming. He was sick.
Yeah.
But I have an interesting story with Uncle Lonnie, which I think I've told you this one, Holly. But my Uncle Lonnie, my cousin Crystal had her wedding. She actually pushed it up sooner than she had planned to, so her dad could be there. And that was the last time I think all of us, at least around here, had seen, Uncle Lonnie. And he was a nice guy. Him and my aunt had been divorced for a lot of years, but he was still, he was still Uncle Lonnie. He was our cousin's dad. It was just still Uncle Lonnie. And he was a really nice guy. And he died not long after my cousin's wedding. But the crazy thing is, the night that Uncle Lonnie died, like in the morning when I woke up, I had a dream the night before that I walked out onto my porch, and my dad pulled up in his old car that he used to have, like I think it was in Arizona he had this car. And he pulled up, and I got up on the porch, and my dad comes walking up, gives me a big hug, and says, "Hey, thanks for letting me hang out with the kids for a little bit. It was really good to see them." And I was like, "You're welcome, Dad. I wish you could stay." And he was like, "I know, but I was just coming through town, and I wanted to stop and say hi." And I was like, "Well, it was really good to see you. I'm glad you got to meet the kids." I said meet, not see. Meet the kids. And then my kids got out of his car and ran up on the porch, ran in the house. My dad waved, and I woke up. And then the next day, that morning, I get the phone call that that my Uncle Lonnie had died. And I still, to this day, think that my dad was passing through to grab Lonnie and hopped into my dream. Because when my dad died, that was still his brother-in-law. So there's no reason he's not going to come and, And obviously it hasn't happened for every single person that died, but that could just mean he was in somebody else's dream. He's not always going to come see me. I've got lots of sisters. I've got lots of family members that he could see. He's got lots of siblings and nieces and nephews. So I would not be... Oh, look at this. Do you see this cutscene?
Oh.
You say yes, you do, or no?
Yeah.
Isn't it so cute? I love these guys.
It
They're
is so
fixing the
cute.
bridge for us. But yeah, so in my opinion, I feel like probably every time, a close family member died, he's probably in someone's dream. They just might not remember it.
Now, if I ever have a dream about Dad, I'm going to wake up and be like,
oh God,
shit.
and be so worried. I know, well, because in my lifetime, I have only had 2 dreams about Dad at all that I can remember. And the one was right after he died, and the other one was this time when Lonnie died. So I told Aunt Connie that story when she called me. I was like, hey, just so you know, my dad was in my dreams, so I'm pretty sure that he came to get Lonnie.
I actually have something weird to tell you about your dreams.
Oh, okay. What?
I have to tell you off.
Off camera? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Was it about the left side thing?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I will tell you guys about that dream eventually, because it was just a weird dream.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so I thought that was interesting that when Lonnie died, when Uncle Lonnie died, I had that dream about Dad. So that was a really sweet dream. I really liked that dream. Especially because I so rarely dream about him, you know?
Yeah, I don't either. Like, surprisingly, you'd think I would.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, with all my dreams, you'd think that Dad would be in them, but nope. But yeah, so I guess that's it for family members, I think, I hope. Hopefully we're not forgetting anyone.
Well, we've got 20 minutes, so we can talk about now with the people who aren't related.
Yes. Okay, so which ones do we have in common that we could talk about?
Oh, gosh.
Oops.
I feel like this one's going to be harder because my brain always goes to, like, people that I went to school with and stuff.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is, like, okay, so I guess I can start talking about people like that I like went to school with or things like that have died. And then you can insert people that you can think of or like mention if you knew these people as well.
Okay.
So there was Amy Prey, who was a girl that I didn't know her well. A lot of my other friends were super close to her, but I remember she had read my tarot cards once because another friend of mine like was friends with her, and she came over and read my tarot cards, and I remember her being really sweet. And you know, I can't even remember what the tarot card reading said, to be perfectly honest with you, because it was so long ago. But that one was really devastating, and her dad puts up a post every year on the anniversary of her death, and it's devastating. Yeah, it's really sad. And my heart breaks for her family. But she was young, and it was a suicide, and that was really bad.
Oh, jeez.
And then let's see, there was. Gosh, now I'm like gonna suddenly like forget everybody that's died because I only want to go to like recent people. Bobby Hahn died.
Yeah.
I don't even remember how he died. Probably drugs or something.
Yeah, probably. I think it was. Yeah, I think it was an overdose. I don't know for sure. I can't remember, so I'm not going to say for sure. But
Jeff Rayner died, and that one was horrible. That was really bad because.
Why did I not know that?
You didn't know that Jeff died?
No.
Oh my God! Yeah, of a heroin overdose.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I saw him like 10 years ago at the bar.
It was crazy because it was in 2019. It was shortly after Joey died. Because I saw Ed at Just Memorial, and I told him about Joey. And he was like, oh my God, that's horrible. You know, you guys were so close. I'm so sorry. And then he had to tell me about his mother.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and that was horrible. Me and my ex-boyfriend's mother were so close. Like, I loved that woman. Oh, I'm still so sad about her. And there was... Oh, okay, so the same day as Dallas... I got a phone call from Joy, and she was just hysterical because the guy that we went to school with named Dennis, who was her husband's best friend, had driven to work and killed himself in the parking lot of work.
Oh my God. And I remember that.
It was horrible. Like, these guys were best friends since at least high school, possibly middle school. Like, the whole time that I knew them, they were best friends. And it was so devastating for him. And then I had an online friend named Janice. She was like from Baby Center. She was a Baby Center mom. And she died. And that one was really upsetting and shocking too because she like commented on everything of mine.
Yeah.
All the time. And then there was my close friend Amanda who just died recently. That one was really bad. I had to call our mutual friend and tell her. And that was just, oh my God, that was so bad. She was sobbing. Who else has died? There was little Eric Hillscamp died.
Yeah, he was going to be one of the ones on my list. He was our neighbor.
Yeah, he was our neighbor.
A lot of my childhood.
Yeah, and Who else? Oh, Randy, my friend Randy. This one was really bad. My friend Tiffany's fiance and the father of her 2 children just freaking up and died on us in May of 2020. And freaking diabetes, and I'm still so mad about it because what the hell? And that one was really rough. Randy and I shared a birthday. Okay, the duck is in the water again.
Oh my gosh.
I am not leaving until you see this.
I'll try to get over there. Of course, I have to be like all the way on the other side of the map.
Of course. Were you over by where the bridge was?
Actually, no, I was, cutting wood somewhere. Where is the bridge?
I'll show you after we, look at the duck. I'll show you what that just did.
Okay.
But he, yeah, I remember Tiffany calling me just absolutely devastated. That one was rough because it was really hard for Tiffany, and it took a lot to get her to like.
Oh,
I know, isn't he so sweet? Look at him ducking all in the water. I didn't even know that they did that. Oh, I love it. Okay, so come here and I'll show you what the bridge just did, or where the bridge leads to. I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of like people that were not related. You go ahead and name some.
well, what about Jennifer's dad?
Oh yeah, my best friend's dad and mom. Literally both of her parents died. But her dad was, like, her mom was shocking, of course. But her dad was really shocking because of a car accident. And it was so devastating for her. I remember her calling me and, like, giving me updates on his recovery. And, like, he was doing so good. And then he just died. And she called me and she was so devastated. Like, my kids were, like, sitting there every day waiting to hear updates of Aunt Jen's dad. And, like, I went to his funeral. I actually spoke at his funeral. I do not normally stand up and speak at funerals, but nobody was standing up because, like, the kids were just devastated, and I guess just nobody wanted to be the first one to speak. So I stood up and I spoke at his funeral, and I told stories of when we were kids and things that happened. And, yeah, that one was really rough because that was, like,
a whole new area.
Somebody that I grew up... Okay, come on over here.
Okay, hold on. I'm just picking up this plum.
That was somebody that, like, I grew up with. Like, I spent every day at this house, you know? So.
Yeah.
So here we go. We can come and get minerals and rocks and stuff, cut down trees, and they'll, like, regenerate every few days.
Oh, cool.
Our best bet is to get bombs and just come and blow it all up because then we'll get all the stuff without having to waste all of our energy.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So.
We have bombs, so.
Yeah. So if you want, we can go and get bombs and then come here and blow this up. But
okay, let's go.
Come over here real quick.
Okay.
Because we have this, we can go to the bus stop and then we don't have to go all the way to the...
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, there was Jennifer's dad and then her mom. Her mom was like a year or so later, a year or two later. And who else has died? Oh, there was Dan Pondo. That one was really hard too. That was our brother-in-law's best friend. And that one was really hard. I'm not gonna go into too many details on that one, but that one was a rough one. Who else? I know there's been a lot of people that have died. But it's like suddenly I'm forgetting all of them.
I don't know. I can start on mine and see if any
go ahead.
come to mind. So for me, there was okay. So the first one in high school, they actually weren't people that I knew personally, but her sister was in my grade, and the guy I actually now I'm kind of friends with his sister. For some reason I don't want to name names.
You don't have
just
to
because I wasn't like close with them, but the reason why it like stood out to me was obviously because I knew her sister, and her sister's such a sweet person, and his sister's such a sweet person, but also because it was just like the first time that I knew people my age who died.
Yeah.
And like it was just like really, it was just like a whole different kind of reality slap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
What is the sister's first name?
Amber.
Okay, so you are talking about who I thought you were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was so like.
Oh, I didn't realize you put a bomb right there.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that one was really. That one was a terrible one because for the one that Holly's talking about, it was two students who died in a car accident.
Yeah, they were friends and
Yeah, and they
like,
were together. And this has actually happened on multiple occasions around here, which I'm sure that that's common for a lot of places. But like, it's been like quite a few times that there's been like students together that died in car accidents, and it's so devastating for all
because
this
the way people
families.
drive on like the roads there and like the back roads and stuff, they're really like. I'm not talking about the people who died. I'm saying like
Yeah, other people. But and I mean, here's the thing: like these are young teenagers who just probably haven't had their license for that long, driving together, and that is why so many parents my age now have rules for their teenagers that you are not allowed to drive with your friends until you have X amount of time driving experience, because so many of them
Shannon's
lost their
mom had that rule.
siblings, or their siblings lost friends, or
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
because they would be about your age.
yeah,
like,
that's what I'm saying. Like
a little bit younger.
well, Amber's my age. Amber
That's
and
what I'm saying. Her brother though.
No, that's what I'm saying is they like the people who make these rules. It's because they lost siblings themselves.
Oh yeah.
Or their friends, or their friends lost siblings, or their siblings lost friends, or
Yeah.
and it just
exactly.
It's an absolutely devastating thing to happen. But yeah, sorry, you can go ahead now.
But yeah, that was the first one that like I don't know was not like a friend, but like
Yeah, somebody your age, because it's
somebody my age.
That's the thing is like obviously this wasn't a death, but when Bob's niece got cancer, she survived it. But I remember being absolutely like devastated by that one because we are the exact same age. We hung out as kids, and it was like, this is somebody who is exactly my age and now has cancer. Like, that hits a little too close to home, Like,
yeah, exactly. That was exactly it. And then, after that was when I graduated. It was Anthony.
Oh,
and
yeah, Bob's nephew? Or Bob's cousin's kid,
was
I
it?
mean.
Yeah, I was gonna say not his nephew, but yeah, second cousin or whatever. But the thing is with me and Anthony, you wouldn't have like seen us and like thought we were like good friends or anything because we didn't hang out with like a lot of the same people and we weren't like in the same groups. I guess you know how high school is, in middle school, but like. In middle school, like we had summer school together and we like laughed and hung out a lot during summer school, and we just had like, you know how sometimes you just have like those side friendships with people where like you just have your own thing, like, but it's not really like a thing where you guys hang out, like, like I don't know,
I know what
it was like it was like that kind of relationship, and like I had like a huge crush on him for all of high school pretty much, and then he kind of made it seem like he was into me too, but like we couldn't date because it just wasn't. It was complicated. But anyway, but because I wasn't super, like, nobody really understood that like I had any kind of relationship with him. I felt weird, like talking about how upset I was over his death.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because we didn't seem like friends.
People didn't really know that you guys were friends. Yeah.
Yeah, and like so, but like that one hit me really hard because he was such a nice guy. Like he was so nice.
I remember you talking about that when he died.
Yeah, like he was. It was terrible. Apparently my cow didn't like being.
Oh, nice guy.
I don't know. What'd you say? Oh, his dad.
Yeah.
Well. And, obviously he could have gone down a bad path, at some point in his life and ended up not great, but
from what
in
I
high school and middle school,
cool.
Yeah, well, in high school and middle school, he was very, very, I mean, he was kind of, like he had douchey high school boy thing going on a little bit, but for the most part, he was he was pretty cool. Um, and yeah. So then,
What?
there was him, and then there was this other kid who I went to school with. For some reason, I don't feel comfortable saying his name. But he actually, his was a suicide.
Are you talking about the one whose name starts with an N?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't blame you for not saying that one. That one was horrible.
Yeah,
God,
that
was
one
like
was
a
so out of
freaking
nowhere and unexpected.
tragedy.
Yeah, and he was another one. And he was another one of those people that was just like always making people laugh.
Yeah,
Like,
his mom's on my Facebook.
yeah, she's on mine too.
Yeah, I think that's why she's on mine, because you and him were friends, and I think she just wants anybody who was
Well, even somehow offhand related to him.
any
Well,
degree of separation from her baby.
but here's the thing: is like we weren't friends. Like, I mean, like I'm not saying we weren't friends. Like we didn't get along, but like we were friends in like 6th grade. Like we hung out a lot in like 6th grade, and
Why don't any of
he
the
was
cows
always.
have milk? Are they all out of hay or something?
I don't know.
Oh yeah,
That would be
they are.
sad.
I gotta get them hay.
Oh, that's probably why he was grumpy when I pet him.
Yeah, they won't produce milk if they don't have.
Or pet her. I guess she's a girl, she's a cow. But yeah, and that one but that one was just like shocking to me because I mean like at one point we were friends, and also he just seemed like the happiest guy. You know what I mean? Like he was just so funny and chill, and that it was just so abrupt. Like even when you hear about what happened to lead to that, it's so abrupt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just completely like, and then there was, I'm trying to think. There was Eric, of course.
Yeah.
There was, oh my God, I know that there's somebody who I'm not thinking of, and it's gonna drive me crazy.
I know, I do too. I know that there's people. Oh, there's Clarence. There's a guy that I grew up with who died recently as well. That one was really, really out of nowhere too.
Also
another suicide.
Clive.
Oh, like my Clive?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right, you guys. I can tell you guys about Clive.
Yeah, well, I try to think about the other person.
Oh, so in 2000, what was it? I guess it would have been 2020. Oh yeah, it was. So shortly after everything happened with my ex-husband the first time, when he like attacked me and everything, and the kids and I had to move out briefly, and then we came back and blah 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 blah. What's a good name for a rabbit, Hal?
Thumper.
Oh, of course. What am I thinking? Of course it's going to be Thumper. Anyway, so I had posted on Facebook that I was looking for, a job. Like, I needed like a weekend or like evening job because I was still watching the kids that I watched. And so, oh shit, I meant to actually name that rabbit. I did not name that rabbit. Oh well, whatever. I just bought us 2 baby rabbits for our coop.
Aw,
Yeah,
yay.
so now we still need $20,000 to upgrade the barn, but that's okay. We're gonna get rabbit feed. Anyway, so I got this weekend job doing hospice care for this 90-year-old man named Clive. And this guy, like, okay, so you obviously hear people talk about how, you know, the older generation, you know, you have to forgive them for being racist or sexist or homophobic or all these things, and it's just the way they were raised and they can't help it, and that's just how old people are. Well, Clive took that mindset and said, fuck you to that, like you would not believe. This man was the kindest. Number one, his sister is a lesbian, and he would proudly tell you about that. He had no problem with gay people. He had no problem with black people. He had no problem with women. He thought that women hung the moon and that they were the superior everything, because it was all women that took care of him. We took care of him, including his wife. And this man would talk to you about his grandchildren, one of them who had was born with like a mental disability, Fragile X syndrome. And he would talk about this kid with so much pride. And he wouldn't, because like, I love his wife, but when she would talk about Clive's grandson, she would talk about how he was never going to be able to take care of himself, and he still had to wear diapers till he was this age, and blah, 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 blah. Whereas Clive would tell you with great pride about how they said that he was never going to be able to go to school, and here he was in college. And that they said that he was never going to be able to do this, and look at what he does. And like, so much pride. So much pride. And like, he would watch like stories about Trump on the news and just go off about how he could not believe that Trump was running this country, and he could not believe that anybody would vote for that man, and how could they hear the way he speaks about women and even think anything about him was positive, and how could they hear the way he talks about Mexican people or building walls around this country that was. And this man, might I add to you, was a veteran. He was a veteran of war. He was a 91-year-old when he died, white man who served this country for years, for decades. So you want to tell me why he was smart enough to know that Trump was not fit to run this country? And just an FYI, when someone says that Trump is not fit to run this country, this does not mean that they think that Biden is. This does not mean that they think Hillary Clinton is. This is not that they think that anyone is. It just means that they know that Trump isn't. So I want to make that abundantly clear. It is not an either-or situation. Okay, sometimes you just have to choose the least of the evils, or what is the phrase?
The lesser of two evils.
Yes, the lesser of two evils. And, anyway, but, so Clive, genuinely a great guy. And I took care of him for a year, a little over a year. And then I normally would have been working when he died, and I'm glad that I wasn't, but we had hired a new girl who had started taking some, like, just a few weekends for me, not even because I needed weekends off, because I didn't, but just because this girl needed a job, I guess. I don't really know why. I think, you know why it was? It was because I had a vacation coming up in October. And so we had decided to start having this girl so that way we would have somebody who could cover for when I was gone on vacation. And she happened to be working this weekend, and I get a phone call from the other girl telling me that he had passed away and that we had to get to the house. So, I burst into tears at home, and I go running, over to the house, and we had to wait for the hospice people to come, and we had, it was horrible because, obviously we are devastated, but we're trying to, keep it together for his wife. And the three of us ended up, after they came and took him, we ended up making his bed for the final time and getting his room all straightened up, and, it was getting the bathroom straightened and just...
When you, I asked Autumn to remind me of the people that I might be missing. And holy crap, she sent me a list of, I don't know how I forgot any of these people.
Okay.
Oh, when you're done.
But that was it. It was absolutely devastating. And I went into this job with Clive knowing that obviously it was going to end because he was on hospice. But I don't think I'll ever take a job like that again because I'd never done hospice care before, and it's very hard to say goodbye to someone that you've been that close with. Literally, I wiped this man's butt for him. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he was the sweetest, kindest man you'll ever meet in your entire life. And yeah, it was amazing. And that one was definitely a rough one too.
There was also, for me, Frank. somebody who all of ninth and 10th grade, I hung out with a very like specific group of people. Like I would go over to this one, like my friend Steve's house, and we would have like parties and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we hung out with them just all the time, every weekend after school. Like they were our people.
Yeah.
And Frank lived across the street from Steve, and they were best friends since like forever, since they were like really young. And Autumn dated him, and he was just in my life a lot. And like me and him, like we got along, and like we would joke together, and obviously we spent time together constantly, so we had like a bond. But if it wouldn't have been for like our friend group, me and him probably wouldn't have been friends, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
But anyway, he died not long after high school, which devastated Autumn because like he was like kind of like one of her first loves, I guess.
Yeah.
So that one was really rough. And then there was Mike, who lived next door to our mom's boyfriend's parents, and I would go over to their house for like parties and stuff all the time, like at mud bogs, I guess, all the time. And we hung out with Mike and his brothers every time we did that, and that was a lot of fun. And yeah, baby. And they would like, I mean, they were they had their issues, but he was a nice guy.
Right.
And he died, and that, there's a whole story about that and the disrespect from a certain like city official guy who yeah. But that one was awful and unexpected. And then there are two people, Anthony and Joey, who I knew, because we live in a small town, and I grew up with them, so obviously, I knew them, but like I was never friends with them. But again, small town, everybody, it's gonna hit you no matter what.
Right.
And then there was also there was this girl, Amanda, who I did not get along with growing up. She was
she
like
died recently, right?
pretty recently, within the last like couple years.
Yeah, I remember.
And she, like, we weren't friends, like, but Autumn was friends with her for a little while, and I mean, I had a problem with her when we were young, but obviously once we became adults, I got over that, and it wasn't like an issue anymore. It was whatever. But that was terrible because she was super young. She had young kids, and they lost their mom, and it's just really, really, really terrible situation.
Horrible.
And then there was the most recent one, which was Ashley. Somebody who, her and her twin sister were like my first best friends. Well, my first best friend was named Katie, but after her in second grade, I became really, really close with these twin sisters. And like I used to go over to their house all the time and play, and we would ride bikes around town and like go to Dairy Queen, and we would like do what second graders do, and like make up little mysteries, and I'd stay the night at their house, and we just had a lot of fun together. And they were like, sure, baby. And they were like my first really good friends that I can remember having, like my first best friends. And I didn't always get along with one of them growing up, but Ashley was like always, like we always got along really well. She was always really sweet to me and stuff. She actually, yeah, baby. But she just a few months ago died of cancer, which is horrible, and for obvious reasons, but also like her poor mother and her twin sister. Like that's your twin,
that's the
like
one that just,
Like you have like such a connection with your twin, and that's got to be. I can't even
That
imagine how she's feeling, and like I don't feel comfortable reaching out because like we've never, it's we
right.
grew apart a long time ago. But man, I feel so much for her and her mom. Like her mom wasn't super nice to me growing up after a while, but still, nobody deserves that.
Right, exactly. That's just sad.
So yeah,
That's
that was
really sad.
horrible. And then one of her best friends is also like such a nice person. And to see her like be so devastated by that, oh
Yep.
yeah. So and that's it's weird. Like that's the weird thing is when you grow up in a small town, like it's not like because I mean I'm sure that many people died from Jay's high school, but he didn't know most of them
Right,
because it wasn't a small
exactly. Because it
town.
wasn't a small town. I thought of another one too that I can't believe that I almost missed.
Mm.
Jamie.
Jamie?
Yeah. So my my best friend Jen, her sister Lisa had a whole group of best friends, Crystal, Corey, and Jamie, and Lisa. They were all inseparable, and I would always see them over at their house because I spent a lot of time there. And then when I got older, Jamie worked at VG's, and then when we had children,
Oh,
our sons became friends at school. And I remember my son coming home and asking me if he could hang out with his friend Caleb. And I was like, probably. And then I get a Facebook message from Jamie, and she informs me that Caleb is her son. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. So my son spent quite a bit of time going over to Jamie's house and spending the night, or Caleb would come to my house and spend the night. And, they would hang out, and, like, they didn't hang out constantly, but probably every few months they would have sleepovers. And then one morning, I wake up to a phone call from my best friend who tells me that Jamie died very, very suddenly overnight.
yeah.
Or actually
God,
early in
she
the
was.
morning. And
I
that
worked
one
with
was
her.
so devastating because not only did I have to, I lost one of my friends, but then I had to tell my son that one of his, oh my God, I just thought of more. Then I had to tell my
Okay.
son that his friend's parent died. And he
Yeah.
was really close to her, and that was hard for him.
I worked with her, and she was one of my favorite coworkers. She was so much fun.
Yeah. I just thought of one more. I said
What?
so many more, but it was actually just one more. My youngest son's friend's mom died
Oh.
in 2020. It was horrible because she took her own life. And before she did, she sent her son to my nephew's house to spend the night that night. And then she took her life. And her husband and kids had to come pick up her son from my nephew's house. And then, we found out, like, I got an absolutely devastated phone call, telling me what had happened. And it was really bad. And I had to tell my son, and the worst part with that one was, this was during 2020 when everything was going wrong. There were shitty things happening in my life with my husband. There was COVID happening. And then this woman died, and she was a friend of mine, so that was upsetting. And I remember one day I was crying, just from the stress of everything. And my son started freaking out, and he was so upset. He was practically inconsolable because he thought that I was sad, so I was going to kill myself.
Oh, God.
And I had to tell my child at 8 years old, explain to him, basically explain mental illness to him and depression, and that, this is not something that mommy feels. Like, mommy never
Yeah, it's not just a casual sad.
yeah,
It's not
that
the
there
same
has
thing.
never been a point that mommy has ever been sad enough that I felt like taking my own life. And that
Yeah.
sometimes it happens. But in my son's life, he had never realized that parents could die. Like, he knew that my dad had died, but, it didn't occur to him that parents could kill themselves, I guess, essentially.
Yeah.
And he also had one of his Cub Scout leaders, and the Cub Scout leader's wife had died in a horrific car accident a few months before this and left their 3 children or 4 children, I think it was 3 children
God.
behind. And so he had just been, because this, this was a guy that he knew. This was, he knew this guy, and that was devastating for him. And then his friend's mom dies, and this woman was sweet as can be. And so it was a lot. That was a lot. But yeah, Jamie was terrible because, like I said, in addition to being my friend, I then had to tell Matthew about it, and that was, he was close with her too because he spent a lot of time at their house, and just...
Yeah.
Oh, so horrible. And I don't know if I've forgotten anybody. I hope not, but...
I hope not too, but I think this has been sufficiently
it's
upsetting.
I was going to say, it's getting late enough now that I think we can just stop talking about it, even if I did for this summer.
There was no, that I can get. Oh my god.
Really?
I did not agree more.
That is weird.
But yeah, so this was definitely a heavy one.
Yes, it was.
Oh my gosh. And then I had to wash it in the water.
You did?
And then my mom and
put
it in the dryer.
I love lyric streams.
Your mom sounds crazy. She sounds like a crazy person.
No, Mom.
You're so silly. What?
And then my mom came. And yeah, that's me. Okay. And then that's me. Mom. You should watch. One time out.
Oh no. No, she told you to go in timeout. Okay, so that was our
that was
adorable ending to our really depressing video.
Yeah. Sorry that this video was just terrible, but I decided to do a video about it.
No, I got $100
Well, whoa. Now you understand some more of our issues, I guess.
Yeah, seriously.
Welcome to therapy, guys.
Right.
And then my tabby bacon. Oh my gosh.
Oh my, that would be terrible.
So, I don't know what we're going to talk about on our next recording. I'll have to figure that out.
We gotta add some more to our list.
Yeah, when we figure out when we're going to record next.
Yeah, I play Tabby.
But it'll be soon. You guys will get more videos soon.
Yep. I'm going to edit these ones. I'm going to get them. I don't edit. I don't know why I say I'm going to edit them because I don't do anything. I literally just put the raw footage up on YouTube because I don't know how to edit. Thankfully, I actually learned how to pause on OBS because I used to have to just end my video if something happened because I didn't know how to pause. I didn't even know pausing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was really bad. I had really terrible videos. Not that these ones are all that great either because it's probably terrible sound quality and no editing whatsoever. But.
I could easily show you how to edit, to be honest.
I have the software on my computer. I just don't really have the time to sit down and try to figure out how to use it.
Right. That makes sense. I feel you a lot on that one.
Yeah, I feel like eventually maybe, but because it used to be that I would get myself 10 or 20 videos recorded in one sitting because they'd only be 10 minutes. Our videos are so long that we can only do 1 to 2 videos per session because we talk so much. But that's okay because I would rather have quality over quantity anyway.
Yeah, me too.
So, I can go to bed now and then we can end the video. I was just walking around waiting for it to be late enough.
Alright, I was in bed, but I hadn't pushed go to bed yet, so.
Okay. Alright, well, that's it for today's video. Holly and I both have to go. She has to do whatever, I don't know, mother, I guess, or something. And I have to go get my children from their visitation. And so yeah,
we'll try to make our next video more upbeat.
Yeah, maybe next time we won't talk about death so much.
We'll talk about a happy thing next time.
Yeah, if we can.
We'll start brainstorming.
Yeah. But thank you for watching. Comment, whatever, I don't know. Don't comment about deaths in your life. That's so depressing.
Yeah, just maybe
comment something
I don't even
happy.
know which one. comment
Not that
something
nobody ever
happy.
comments on these videos anyway.
Well, if anybody does
But-
comment, how about comment a nice memory you have with somebody who you've lost?
Something happy.
Yeah.
Because we just made this video super sad. So, all right, bye.
All right, bye.